Gracious Words, a testimony by Grace Fox. Proverbs 16:24. Pleasant words are as an honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. Moving on to a sailboat meant purging almost all of our earthly belongings. One exception was a box containing the letters my husband and I wrote to each other during our long-distance engagement and my collection of Mother's Day and birthday cards from my kids. I could not bring myself to throw them away. I treasured these words. They make me feel wanted and loved. That's how Jesus' words made people feel. On one occasion, he spoke to a woman whose medical condition made her untouchable. Luke 8:43 through 48. With no human options left for healing, she sneaked through a crowd and touched the hem of his garment. Jesus could have scolded her for being so bold, for presuming upon his kindness. He could have rebuked her for contaminating him. Instead, he focused his attention on her and said, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." Imagine how Jesus' words, spoken within the crowd's earshot, must have made her feel. While everyone around her considered her unclean, Jesus called her daughter. This implied a term of endearment equal to "my little one." He pronounced healing to her body and blessed her with shalom peace. Jesus' words made this woman feel valued and whole. They breathed life and hope into the deepest recesses of her heart. How do the words I speak compare? Do they make others feel wanted and loved? I want to always follow his example and speak words that are sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. Faith step. Write an encouraging note to someone expressing appreciation for a particular characteristic you see in them.
In the Synoptic Gospels, we read of the story of Jesus healing the woman who had an issue of blood. The woman had tried unsuccessfully for 12 long years to be healed by numerous physicians. According to the law of Moses, because she constantly was bleeding, she was considered ritually unclean and thus should not touch anyone else, as they would also become unclean. This also meant that she was unable to worship at the temple, as she was always in a state of ritual impurity. Matthew records that the woman, upon finding Jesus in a crowd of people, came up behind him and touched the fringe of his garment. For she said to herself, "If I only touch his garment, I will be made well." Jesus turned, and seeing her, he said, "Take heart, daughter, your faith has made you well." And instantly the woman was made well. We also learn of other similar accounts when the sick and afflicted were healed by touching Jesus' garments. In Mark we read, "And wherever he came in villages, cities, or countryside, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and implored him that they might touch even the fringe of his garment. And as many as touched it were made well." Most scholars agree that the hem or fringe of his garment refers to the tzitzit or tassels worn by observant Jews. The tzitzit are specially knotted ritual fringes attached to the four corners of the talit or prayer shawl and talit katan or everyday undergarment. The four fringes were designed to be a daily reminder of the commandments of God. In the book of Numbers, the Lord said unto Moses, "Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a riband of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them. Why the woman decided to touch this specific part of Jesus' garments is unknown. Was it simply because it was easily accessible to her touch, being low on his robe? Or was it because she possibly knew that there is power in remembrance, power in the commandments, and power in the priesthood? Perhaps she thought that of all places to touch on his clothing, these tassels, with their priestly temple blue threads, would be the closest thing to touching heaven. How fitting that after being unclean to worship at the temple for 12 long years, that this faithful woman would find healing power by touching these tassels, connecting remembrance, priesthood, and the temple with the power of the atonement of Jesus Christ.